Good morning and welcome to another edition of the Daily Fix. I am your usual host and presenter, Advocate Chicco Gininda. This morning I'm back to the Meyiwa trial with some very sensational news. One of the investigators, I will not disclose the man's name, at least at this stage, just to protect him, because he might well be a potential witness in the Meyiwa trial, tells me that, you see, there were differences between the police. The junior police officers were saying there were no intruders that got into that house, and the senior police took the view that there were intruders that burst into that house, demanded cell phones from people in that house, and ended up shooting Meyiwa. That is how the trajectory of 636 goes. Now, this investigator tells me that, in fact, let us call a spade, it was General Sibiya, right? It was General Sibiya and Baloyi, right? And Gininda, who came up with the theory or the investigation that led police away from the real crime scene on this merry-go-round of 636. Right? And Chicco Gininda is also involved here. The gun that killed Senzo came from Longo Gininda brought that gun there to that house. Right? And that was Chicco's stolen firearm. And it was an unlicensed firearm. We must call a spade a spade. This is what my former investigator tells me. We must call a spade a spade. Now, Chicco Gininda, in the process of protecting his son and himself, because he was the owner of an unlicensed firearm, that in itself is criminal. Secondly, the son was in possession of this unlicensed firearm. That is also criminal. Right? Now, also as a conspiracy to hide or to protect Kelly Khumalo, a plot was then hatched when these people returned from the hospital after Senzo had passed away, that this thing must be covered up. It was the senior police officers who said this. The people in the house were simply fed a story that we've got to cover this thing up. No way are we going to say Kelly shot Senzo. We must find something. And they were told not to talk to people, because they to talk to the Fostoras police station policemen. Because, as they put it, this is senior people. Right? They were too traumatized. But, interestingly, they were not too traumatized to talk to people like General Sibiya. They were not too traumatized to talk to them, but they were told that, no, you are too traumatized to talk about this now. You must say nothing to the Fostoras police station police. So this was really a conspiracy. It was to protect. Chicco wanted to protect his skin. His gun was involved, right? And there was also the shooter herself, Kelly Khumalo, was being protected. And this is why 636 was cooked. These are the people who cooked 636. Because 636 was a total variance with 375. The evidence in the Meyiwa trial will reveal that there were no intruders into that house. That Senzo was killed, was shot, and eventually died from a gunshot wound from a gun in the possession of Kelly Khumalo. That is how it happened. No beating about the bush here. It was a huge conspiracy. Now there are a lot of twists and turns in this, because my investigator informant, a person who was also on the ground investigating this matter, right, also tells me that Baloyi and Chicco actually share the same mother. They just have they have different fathers. So they are half brothers. Right? So it was not very difficult for, after Chicco and the police had concocted all this story, Chicco just had to approach his half brother Baloyi to say, Baloyi, look, I am in trouble, man. My son has just stolen my firearm and it has ended up shooting Meyiwa. What can we do? Right? What can we do? Let us, we have come up with a theory here. Can we be part of this theory? So this docket was put together. This fictitious docket was put together, right? And so they started now looking all over South Africa for non-existent people. But for people they could successfully pin on the killing of Senzo Meyiwa. That was the reason why 636 was opened. And there is no beating about the bush now. It is clear that 636 is simply a fictitious docket. There is a story. Somebody must act now. We are putting it to the attention of the National Director of Public Prosecutions. We bring it to the attention of the National Commissioner of Police. We are putting it to the attention of everybody who cares to listen, that we have information at our disposal. Too many people have died with this information at their disposal. You'll recall that close on to about 9 witnesses have died, right? Potential defense witnesses who were going to come before court to say what happened on that fateful day. We know, for instance, that Warrant Officer Makubu lives like a man who is afraid of his shadow. Makubu now has been threatened, his house has been broken into, and is probably the single most important person who is going to testify about the opening of 375. He is going to do that. And he's the only, probably is the only surviving person who was among the many people that have died. Of course, there's Constable Tapadima, right? And whether these people will actually come before court to testify is another issue. Because, people are living under fear. They are being intimidated. At worst, they are being killed. So, it is a very tricky situation whether, people who, your guess is as good as mine, whether the few that are left will come forward to testify. But that is the truth of it, right? No more narratives, no more nothing. That is how it was done, right? After Senzo was left at the hospital and declared dead, a meeting was hastily convened at the Kumalo house, at which meeting this conspiracy to divert attention away from the house and make false claims that intruders ran into that house and did what they're supposed to have done, right? That it was cooked at that particular point in time, right? And the people who cooked it are the senior police officers who were on the scene and had no business being on the scene. Sibia, for one of them, right? They had no business being there, right? Ordinarily, an investigation at that stage does not involve generals. Right? It does not involve generals. And why was it that immediately after Senzo was shot, right? One of the first people on the scene was Chicco Gininda. What was Chicco out there to do? Chicco is not a medical doctor, right? Chicco is not a policeman. He knows nothing about investigations. He's not a medical doctor. He's not medically trained. How was he going to help? How was his presence going to help save Senzo's life? What was he doing there? These people must be questioned. They must be brought in for questioning by the police to find out what were they doing there. These were the people behind the narrative. Nobody says Chicco Gininda killed, Senzo Meyiwa. But he's involved through the involvement of his unlicensed and illegal firearm. That is how he gets involved in this. We have had too many of these narratives, right? The people of South Africa are confused. Once and for all, we must call a spade and say who the culprit is. Otherwise, we are destined to beat about the bush, to be fed conspiracy theory after conspiracy theory. Where will it all end? I am bringing this to you as my viewers because I have it on good authority, on somebody who was actually an investigator of this matter, who was on the ground, right? Who for reasons, because of, threats and the threats and whatever that we see around people, He's not prepared to come out in the open. But he has told me that, well, if I am subpoenaed to testify in that trial, I will come forward and testify. So there you have it. That is the conspiracy. That is how Senzo Meyiwa died. Right? That is what Senzo Meyiwa died. This is what people like Sfiso, right? Sfiso Meyiwa, Senzo Meyiwa's elder brother, have always, all along been saying. Nobody believes the intruder theory. Nobody believes that there were intruders into that house. For once and for all, let us keep this matter, let us lay this matter to rest. This is what happened, and this is the only narrative that we have. Having said that, let me thank you for watching this video. The subscriptions are coming up in a very satisfactory manner, and so are the views, right? You are behind me in this initiative. Please keep on subscribing, and I love you all.